Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're talking about an upcoming blizzard for the upper Midwest and portions of the Great Plains. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting store in the description and in the pinned comments down below, alongside our very awesome Patreon page in the same location. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, what is the maximum amount of snow you think anybody sees with this snowstorm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now, let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at those warnings, watches, and advisories, and as you can see, in kind of those gold shades there, you can see for Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and then the plains, a lot of the plains there. We have high wind warnings, and alongside that, we actually have that blizzard warning there for portions of South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, portions of Nebraska, and then small portions of Missouri as well. I expect that this could expand potentially, but that's our blizzard warnings. You can see it's right up against where we have that winter storm, and then the high winds at the same time. Obviously, that's what creates a blizzard. In those kind of pink shades, we have a little bit of pinks. Well, we have two different pinks. There's one that's the red flag warning. That's for Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota. But there is some pinks there alongside that blizzard warning, as you can see, for Minnesota and Iowa. That's actually winter storm warnings. So we are expecting quite a bit of snowfall for that region. And then kind of those purplish shades is where we have our winter weather advisories. So there's plenty of snowfall to go around. We're expecting a lot of it. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and take a look at this simulated radar and just walk you through this. We're going to walk through the winds as well at a certain point. And then at the very end, we have our snowfall forecast, so stay tuned for all of that. All right, now here we are taking a look at I would say this is about this morning, actually, Thursday, January 14th, from the time I'm making this video. And as you can see, for North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota there as well, all of these states have some snow showers going on this morning. But as we move towards about 1 p.m. this afternoon, you can see that those snow showers actually become more consistent snowfall, especially there for portions of Iowa and Minnesota, where we're seeing some moderate to heavy snowfall by this point. So let's just go ahead and switch the view to where we're going to be able to see a wider view here. And this is by the time we're reaching maybe about, I would say, 11 p.m. tonight on Thursday, January 14th. As you can see, that moderate to heavy snowfall becomes very widespread. We see portions of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois seeing moderate to heavy snowfall by this point, especially there in Wisconsin. It's really, really coming down according to this model by this point. Let's take a look at those winds too. You can see it's pretty marginal there on the very eastern end, obviously, but as we get closer to areas like Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, that's where we have the 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Very, very strong winds, and that's what's going to create those blizzard conditions. It's not going to take a lot of snow at all, and matter of fact, a lot of that snow could be already on the ground, a very dry snow blowing all over the place. Really, blizzard is not about the snowfall, it's about the visibility. That's what you have to remember. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to move on towards tomorrow morning, and what we're going to see is that snow is actually going to move back westward a bit, wrap around, and bring heavier snowfall back to Minnesota, Iowa, and portions of Missouri as well. All right, now here we are taking a look at about, I would say, 9 a.m. tomorrow on Friday, January 15th. And as you can see, that moderate to heavy snowfall wraps back around and enters into states like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. You can really see the spin to this going on. It's heading back west and then back down south, kind of just really wrapping around that low pressure system at this point. So the snow is going to be really coming down at this point. And also, let's take a look at those wind gusts by that point now. And as you can see, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. That's wind gusts going on there for portions of Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri. So it is going to be all-out blizzard conditions, especially on the western portions of those states and maybe the eastern portions of the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Kansas there as well. And then we kind of see it starting to really come to an end here by about, I would say, 3 p.m. there on Friday, January 5th. You can see it's really lightened up by this point, especially there for the Ohio Valley, the Plains, the upper Midwest. But what we're seeing is some snowfall occurring there for Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio now. So let's just move to that very eastern edge here. And as you can see, the snow is really going to be coming down for Pennsylvania and New York by about, I would say 12 a.m. there on Saturday, January 16th. And this is kind of an associated low pressure system, but it's a much weaker one than the one that was going on in the upper Midwest. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on here, and we're going to move on in just a moment and take a look at where this is going to really become actually a heavy snowstorm for upstate New York and New England in just a moment. All right, now here we are taking a look at about, I would say 8 a.m. here on Saturday, January 16th. And as you can see, for northeastern Pennsylvania and through upstate New York, the Finger Lakes regions, up through the Adirondacks, also the Catskills probably getting in on some of that moderate to heavy snowfall. We're seeing very heavy snowfall, actually, especially in those colors that kind of turn into a purplish shade. Notice those pinks around, too. That's actually where some rain and sleet is mixing in. So there is going to be some mixing issues. It's going to be kind of just a wintry mess for this region, really. We see some of the Berkshires, the Green Mountains getting a lot of those pinks, but also some snowfall, too. I think elevation is going to play a big role in what's going on here. Also portions of mountainous New Hampshire, and then up through the hilly northern interior regions of Maine there as well. Let's take a look at about 1 p.m. here on Saturday, January 16th. And as you can see, a lot of that heavier snowfall is still going on for the Adirondacks, but we see a lot of mixing issues going on for Vermont, New Hampshire, with some heavy snowfall for the White Mountains as well, up through into portions of Maine. We have to switch to a lower resolution model here, but let's take a look at about 10 p.m. there on Saturday. And as you can see, there is still some snowfall and some wintry mix going on for New England. But by the time we reach about 1 p.m. there on Sunday, it's pretty much moved out for the most part, actually. We do see some lake effect snowfall going on afterwards, though. I expect the lakes to get kind of rolling after that as well, actually. So we will see some activity. The lakes are very warm right now, so lake effect snow is still going on, and it could be still going on through the end of January as well, as those lakes just are very, very warm, and that's what leads to a lot of that lake effect snowfall. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to move on and take a look at the modeled snowfall guidance, and then also my snowfall forecast as well for the system, so stay tuned for all of that. All right, now here we are taking a look at the European model. And as you can see, if you're anywhere in the grays, you're expecting a dusting, if anything. In those blue shades, you're expecting about 2 to 6 inches of snow. In those purple shades, about 6 to 10. In the pinks, that's where we're at, about 10 inches plus. All right, now let's take a look at that NAM 3KM model here. And we see a lot of that heavier snowfall actually for Minnesota and more western Iowa. And this would be kind of a worst case scenario because that's mostly where those high winds are as well. So if we see the heaviest snowfall where the highest winds are as well, that's just going to amplify those blizzard conditions, I believe. Let's zoom into New England. I wanted to note this because look at how elevation based this is. In the valleys, you have practically nothing. And then for the more mountainous regions, we have about 10 inches plus. So a very elevation-based snow event here expected for New England and a lot of the Northeast, even down through Pennsylvania. You could tell it's a lot of those mountainous regions getting the most of the snowfall at this point. Let's take a look at that RGEM model as well. And this is my favorite model of all time. As you can see, we have a lot of those pinks going on for more central Minnesota down through central and northeastern Iowa there. So that's where the most of the snowfall is expected according to that model. Pretty widespread purples going on for Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa as well by this point. Now let's go ahead and take a look at my snowfall forecast. And if you're anywhere in this white region, you're expecting about a dusting to about 3 inches of snow within that white region. So very widespread throughout the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and even up through into the interior northeastern United States. Now let's take a look at that 3 to 6 inch regions. I put an S at the end because there's multiple there. The upper Midwest, we have a big one. We have one there for West Virginia, one that extends from northeastern Pennsylvania through upstate New York, one for the Green Mountains, and then one for the White Mountains in through a lot of interior Maine as well. Let's finally take a look at those 6 to 10 inch regions. We have one there for Minnesota and Iowa. I kept it more centralized. Again, we had that NAM 3KM model calling for much further west, kind of on the western end of Minnesota and Iowa. We had the European on the more eastern end, and then the RGEM right in the middle. I'm going with right in the middle there for that 6 to 10 inch bullseye there for the upper Midwest. I see the Adirondacks and the White Mountains getting 6 to 10 inches as well there with that New England storm area. And then we have a very small 10 to 15 inch region expected here for Iowa and Minnesota right in the middle of that bullseye. I expect that to be just south of Minneapolis there, but it could extend up into Minneapolis as well. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how do you think this upcoming severe weather season is going to go? And James Marr said, unfortunately, I think this severe weather season will be worse than most. And unfortunately, I do agree there with James Marr. A nice comment of the day. I definitely agree. Based on the La Nina, based on the temperature anomalies expected as of right now, I think we could have an above average severe weather season. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons. Sebastian Tao, John Benbenick, James Wade, Dovi Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry Lepan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis. Alongside our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Cat Bite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, Mark J, and Luke Falago. Anyway, if you would like to be on this Patreon end screen, you can do so by joining our very awesome Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.